This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
I don't want prayers. I don't want thoughts. I want gun control, and I hope to God nobody else sends me any more prayers.
From anger to anguish, a heartbroken community comes together to remember the lives lost while investigators work to find the reason why.
But we begin with two major fires raging right now, homes in danger. The Hill Fire burning in Ventura County. It has shut down traffic on the 101 freeway all night. And the Woolsey fire also burning in Ventura and LA counties, with thousands of families being warned to evacuate, many people packing up right now. We have live team coverage on the fires that are raging tonight. We begin with our Chris Christie live at Air 7 HD. Chris.
It's been a dramatic day up here. This is the Woolsey fire that we're looking at over here. This started near the Rocketdyne facility in Santa Susana earlier this afternoon as a 5-acre brush fire has grown exponentially throughout the day, has now reached 2,000 acres, and at this hour is now knocking on the door of this neighborhood here in Oak Park at the intersection of Deerbrook Road and Lambourne Place. Now, an army of firefighters in the last few minutes have made their way into this neighborhood to begin setting up structure protection. About a half hour to 45 minutes ago, the winds were blowing west in the opposite direction, and they quickly shifted south. Now this entire neighborhood is under siege as this fire encroaches on the Oak Park neighborhood just north of Canaan Drive and just north of Oak Park High School, which is actually a shelter that they were evacuating some of these residents to, and now they are evacuating the shelter itself. For more on that, we have Annabelle Munoz down on the ground. Annabelle?
Hi there. We've been tracking this fast-moving Woolsey fire. It's hard to tell right now. We're at Blackbourn and Barrons, and it's hard to see the flames, but you can see them just behind me. We are surrounded in smoke, and you can see those flames inching closer to these homes. The LA County Sheriff's Department has come by several times. You can see them coming by just one more time here and speaking over the speaker, reminding people that there is a mandatory evacuation order in place, telling people to pack their things, to grab whatever they can get, and to get out as soon as possible. Because these winds are so strong, we felt some incredibly strong gusts. That is what's making this fire move even more quickly, exploding in this area. And we also have footage of people who were trying to pack up in what were the first mandatory evacuation orders, folks trying to get what they could and telling us how they felt about this fire and hoping that it would be under control, hoping their homes would be safe. Take a listen.
We packed what we could, really just, memorable stuff, pictures and stuff, and we, realized that we don't have any clothes or anything, so yeah, right now we're just getting the necessities that we need.
Now, we were also in that Oak Park neighborhood, which was not under a mandatory evacuation order, but folks were getting ready there as well. They were keeping a close eye online, watching for anything the Sheriff's Department would announce regarding evacuation orders in that place. People were getting their pets out, their passports ready, and important documents, and telling us they wanted to be ready to evacuate just in case.
Told by coworkers and family that I should pack my belongings and then just wait to see if I get evacuated.
How do you feel about?
Well, with everything that's going on in the last 2 days, I don't know. I feel like I'm shocked and sickened, and I don't know what else can go worse.
We're prepared. We're just ready, prepared for anything that may happen. It's a really sad, intense day around here with the shooting and now the fire. It's very surrealistic.
I don't think it'll be devastating in my personal neighborhood, but better safe than sorry. I'd like to get out just for my own peace of mind.
There. Now back here live, you can listen to the LA County Sheriff's Department making these announcements.
Evacuate your residents.
So they've done that several times over the past 20 minutes or so, I would say. When we were first in this neighborhood, we could see a little bit of glow just behind these homes. But when those winds picked up is when we saw those flames really start inching closer. Again, LA County Sheriff's Department reminding people here in this neighborhood near Saddleboard and Barrons to evacuate as soon as possible. Reporting live, Annabelle Munoz, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Annabelle, thank you. Not far away, just a few miles away, the Hill Fire still burning out of control. That's near Camarillo Springs. Mandatory evacuations are in place there. The 101 freeway closed. Eyewitness News reporter Veronica Miracle live in Camarillo as firefighters battle the flames of the Hill Fire. Veronica.
Well, Mark, you can see the flames on the ridge behind me. We are off of Santa Rosa Road on Adobe Way, and this neighborhood here has not been evacuated yet. But I've been speaking with people who've been in touch with firefighters who say if those winds shift at any moment, they could be asked to leave immediately.
The fast-moving Hill Canyon fire putting communities on edge tonight as the Santa Ana winds relentlessly fan the flames.
We've just been seeing the fire jump from ridge to ridge, and as you can see, it's getting a little closer with each, about every 30 minutes.
Firefighters are protecting homes in Camarillo Springs, the Santa Rosa Valley area, the Dos Vientos area, and Potrero Road, home to CSU Channel Islands. Neighbors in the area are on edge.
We're packing up some of our stuff and, making sure we get all the good keepsakes out of the house just in case, and just be ready to go.
The only thing I'm concerned about is the coyotes and the other wild animals coming in.
The fire erupted near the 101 and jumped the corridor in less than 12 minutes. Authorities had to escort trapped drivers to safety, and now the major thoroughfare is shut down indefinitely. A number of RVs and outbuildings were lost near Newberry Park. This woman went into the area to help.
When I first drove in here, it was crazy. It was like red. The roads were red. It was like embers everywhere, and there was a tree that was crumbling when you turned in through the gated community right there, and I couldn't see within like 3 feet.
Firefighters now concerned about CSU Channel Islands, which is in the path of the fire. They say the fire is heading in that direction and flames could make its way toward the ocean.
Mark and Michelle, in between this neighborhood that we are in and those flames is a senior citizen living community. So all of the neighbors here, they have been pacing back and forth just to make sure that everybody who's living in that community just behind them is going to be okay. They're very worried about that. We've seen a steady stream of cars of people leaving and self-evacuating, although there is a big crowd of people who are still standing by and watching those flames. We'll keep a close eye on this. Here live in Camarillo, Veronica Miracle, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Veronica, and our understanding is that there aren't any water drops taking place tonight because of the high winds. Is that the case?
That is definitely the case. We have not seen any aircrafts here. And in fact, the winds have just been blowing so hard. It's really unbelievable. And that's why so many people are so scared, because they're shifting in so many different directions. The wind is not blowing in one specific way.
Yeah, it's a really scary situation. Veronica, thank you very much for that live report. The Woolsey fire, which is being fueled by those Santa Ana winds, showing no signs of slowing down. Let's get the latest on the weather conditions now from meteorologist Dallas Raines. Dallas?
Michelle, the news is bad tonight because the Santa Ana winds will continue to blow tonight and get even stronger. This is Van Nuys right now. It's 70 degrees, but look at this. The relative humidity is at 9%. I mean, there's basically no water vapor in the atmosphere there at all. Currently, the winds look like this. Very strong, blowing down across Santa Clarita, northeast 11, gusts to 25. Out in the Fillmore area, all the way to the coastline now. Likely that the Hill Fire could burn all the way to PCH by tomorrow morning. Downtown, we're in great shape, calm conditions over this entire area, and down in Orange County, still blowing through the Santa Ana foothills, but nothing making it to the coastline at this moment. I'll have a complete forecast. We're going to check out the red flag warnings and keep those going until 10 o'clock tomorrow night. More weather in just a few minutes. I'll see you then.
Okay, Dallas, thank you.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Now we turn to the aftermath of the deadly mass shooting in Thousand Oaks. An outpouring of grief tonight over the tragic loss of a sheriff's sergeant and 11 others killed during college night at that country music bar. Eyewitness News reporter Giovanna Lara live now in Thousand Oaks, where the city held a vigil that was filled to capacity. Giovanna?
Mark, that's right. There were well over 2,000 people here tonight. They came to grieve and seek comfort after a horrific tragedy they never thought would happen in their community.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound.
A moving vigil for 12 lives lost suddenly and tragically. The community of Thousand Oaks mourning the victims of Tuesday night's senseless massacre at the Borderline Bar and Grill.
Whether you go there every night or you go there twice a year, it's fabric of the community. So it feels like somebody invaded your home and took a stab at you while you were in bed.
Among the speakers, Mayor Andy Fox, clergy from several faiths, and Sheriff Jeff Dean, who recounted the moment he told the wife of Sergeant Ron Helis that the 29-year veteran of the Sheriff Department was among the 12 victims.
I said to her, because of Ron, many lives were saved. And she looked at me through her tears and said, he would have wanted it that way.
The vigil, held at the Fred Cavely Theater for Performing Arts, which holds 1,800 people, was at capacity. Several hundred others watched from nearby City Hall or listened to the service while standing in the blustery weather outside.
There aren't really any words, you know, your heart just breaks for the community. It's tragic, it's senseless, it's unfair.
You can definitely see that the community did come together today. There was people that I don't even know hugging me, and you can feel the mourning in the air.
We wanted to pay our respects to the families and the people that were involved and try and give them some love and some support, and hopefully this will start the healing process.
But now I see.
Yes, that healing process just beginning tonight, and it will surely be many months before the heavy cloud of sorrow is lifted here. Mark and Michelle.
Giovanna, thank you very much. Devastated community remembering a beloved security guard killed in the shooting tragedy. People gathered at Rivalry Roasters in Simi Valley for a vigil for Sean Adler. He owned the coffee shop. He had just opened it just 2 weeks ago. This is a picture of the 48-year-old from the Royal Wrestling Club, where he worked as a strength coach a few years ago. Last night, Adler was working as a security guard at Borderline. Friends say the married father of 2 died doing what he was passionate about, and that's protecting people.
He has a family. And so if you have a family and you're doing right by your family and you're such a hard worker and an angel to other people,
they're hurting really bad right now. I've seen grown men cry tonight.
A second vigil for Adler will be held on Friday. The community is just reeling following the shooting in Thousand Oaks. Eyewitness News reporter Jory Rand is live now as authorities and families look for answers. Jory?
It's hard to believe it was only 24 hours ago, this time last night, that shooter was about to go inside the Borderline Bar and Grill and pull off this country's latest mass shooting. Tonight, friends of victims continue to pour by, some of them placing flowers near the scene as close as they can get to where their loved ones lost their lives. And tonight, we're also getting our first look inside the bar, and we do want to warn you, some of you may find this video disturbing. Tonight, our first look inside the Borderline Bar and Grill during the shooting that left 12 people dead. There, across the room, is the shooter, identified as 28-year-old Ian David Long, a former Marine who went to Afghanistan and apparently never fully came home. Believed to be suffering from PTSD after returning from war, he entered the restaurant shortly after 11 p.m. and opened fire using a gun purchased legally, but apparently with an illegal extended clip, allowing him to fire even more bullets. Tonight, flowers have been placed nearby as friends of the victims come back to a place that once brought such joy. Tanner Williams' girlfriend was in the bar during the shooting. And you didn't just know her inside. I mean, you basically knew
I knew everyone inside. Everyone. I texted my boss and everything, and I was just like, are you okay? And she was just crying.
It's terrifying. I know that they released video of what it was like inside, and I had my mom shut it off. I couldn't watch it.
This morning, the body of 54-year-old Sergeant Ron Helis, a 29-year veteran of the Ventura County Sheriff's Department, was taken from the hospital to the coroner's office. The procession making its way down streets lined with people onto the 101 freeway, where overpasses were packed with even more people looking to pay their final respects to this fallen hero who ran into the danger and saved lives in the process. And the sergeant was the only person who died to be taken to the hospital. The rest lost their lives and remained inside the Borderline Bar and Grill, where tonight the Ventura County Sheriffs and the FBI continue their investigation. We're live tonight in Thousand Oaks. Jory Rand, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
Jory, thank you. Coming up, we'll have new information about the suspect in that Thousand Oaks tragedy.
And we will update you on the fast-moving Woolsey fire that is forcing people to evacuate their homes. We'll be right back.
Back to the scene of breaking news now. This is the Woolsey fire that is burning in the Oak Park area. It's encroaching on a neighborhood. Let's get more from Chris Christie in Air7 HD. Chris.
You're right about that, Mark. It is encroaching rapidly on this Oak Park neighborhood. We'll go ahead and focus on this intersection right here. We're right along Canaan Road at Churchwood Drive, and you can see what this looks like during the day. According to our Google map, there looks like that's an elementary school there on the corner. Fire rapidly approaching that building, as well as a number of other homes in this neighborhood. Now, firefighters are deploying in huge numbers to try and protect as many of these.
Okay, we're sorry we have lost Chris Christie's signal there, but we will go back to it. And in the meantime, we're going to talk about the winds in this area. Okay, Chris is back.
Yep.
Okay,
yeah, that may have been some interference by some explosions. I mean, this fire is literally exploding out the window of Air7 HD. Massive flames shooting hundreds of feet in the air. Now, I want to mention again, this fire is encroaching on the Oak Park neighborhood. Firefighters are dispatching in huge numbers to try and protect as many of these structures as possible. But at the rate this fire is spreading, and it's spreading rapidly and suddenly as the winds have shifted in the last hour, so has the fire, and it's just going to be very, very difficult to protect all of these structures. We're watching and hearing reports of different structures that are being threatened, and some of them maybe even already up in flames. We're trying to chase those down, as are firefighters. But it is a game of whack-a-mole, because these embers fly through these neighborhoods, get caught on trees, can slip under the eaves of a home, and poof, it can go up just like that, guys. You know how it is, and it is a very scary situation here in Oak Park tonight.
Yes, with the spot fires, it's a huge concern, Chris. We know these embers can travel far, and that is a huge problem. Let's go to Dallas Rains now. He updates us on the wind and the low humidity out there. Dallas, what can you tell us?
Michelle, tonight, humidity's between 5 and 10% in this area. Now, the Santa Ana winds are blowing strong from the northeast out to the southwest, taking this fire all the way to the coastline. And remember, right around the fires themselves, the heat, the rising heat, produces its own wind that can circulate in these vortices right around the fire. That makes it really difficult to handle, because you have a wind coming from one direction and just a few minutes later it's coming from another direction. But the main wind field tonight is northeast, 30 to 35 miles per hour, an occasional gust of 40. And believe it or not, the winds are going to get even stronger as we head towards sunrise. That's when we'll see the maximum wind conditions. They'll start tapering off, thank goodness, during the afternoon tomorrow. But the red flag warning all the way until 10 o'clock tomorrow night for most of Southern California. All of that part of this big dome of high pressure, which is driving the winds down into Southern California. These are called Santa Ana or Santana winds, and you can see exactly where they come from. They come from the continent, the landmass, move out to sea, really dry humidities, as I mentioned, 5, 10%, and then as they go through the canyons. Tomorrow will be the last day of the red flags, though, and then on Saturday it'll be beautiful, sunny and warm, 81, very little wind. But look at this, Mark and Michelle and folks at home. I have another burst of Santa Ana winds coming in Sunday night into Monday. Elevated fire danger is expected one more time. Valley temperatures again for tomorrow under sunny skies at about 82 Saturday and 82 degrees or so on Sunday. There is no rain in the 7-day forecast, unfortunately.
Oh, that is unfortunate. Dallas, thank you very much.
Thank you,
we're going to be right back with another update on the Woolsey fire threatening homes as we speak.
While so many people are grieving in the wake of the Thousand Oaks shooting, investigators are trying to figure out the motive behind the massacre.
They have been combing the suspect's Newbury Park home for clues all day long. Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan is there live now with the latest. Rob?
Well, this is the home where the suspect lived with his mom, just a couple of miles up the freeway from where this shooting unfolded. Neighbors are painting a picture of a very troubled man, while authorities are questioning his mother to try to figure out the motive.
After spending a good part of the day at the shooting suspect's home on Fowler Avenue in Newbury Park, Investigators wrapped up their search early this afternoon, walking out with several bags of evidence, trying to determine a possible motive for the suspect, identified as 28-year-old Ian David Long.
At this point, we do not have any indicators of other associates, or there are no other threats to the Los Angeles area.
Long was a former Marine who served in Afghanistan in 2011 and possibly suffered PTSD. According to neighbors, he and his mother would get into it all the time.
Just watch the body language, you could tell, and the way he was talking back and forth to his mother.
Don McLeod, who lives behind the home, remembers one night in particular.
About 8, 9 o'clock at night, we heard it sounded like a gunshot.
Other neighbors remember an incident in April.
A lot of commotion, a lot of talking.
Sounded like he was banging on the walls or something.
The police showed up. Long was given a mental evaluation, but he wasn't hospitalized. Neighbors say he did show violent tendencies.
You know, the walls are kicked in and, you know, he was just couldn't control him.
Richard Berg says the suspect's mom was trying to get him help, but he just wouldn't go for it.
He wouldn't get help, and she was worried that something like this would happen, I'm sure.
We kept our distance. We're friendly. I said to my wife, if he talks to you, always acknowledge him, but there's something wrong there.
And the Ventura County Sheriff's Department is leading this investigation, not the FBI, because at this point it's not considered terrorism, at least so far as the federal definition goes. Live in Newbury Park, Rob McMillan, ABC7 Eyewitness News.
All right, Rob McMillan, thank you. We'll be back with another update on that raging Woolsey fire.
An update now on breaking news in Oak Park, and you can see the fire now just coming so close to homes. Let's go up to Chris Christie. He's in Air 7 HD with the very latest. Chris.
Michelle, such an ominous scene. This is the corner of Monteleone Avenue and Churchwood Drive, where houses are now going up in flames. Multiple structures have now caught on fire here in Oak Park as this fire's behavior changes rapidly. Firefighters are doing their best to keep up, but it is a tough job tonight here in Oak Park. The bottom line, a mandatory evacuation order is now in effect for all of Oak Park. Guys, back over to you.
All right, it is moving so quickly. We'll get back to you as needed. We'll be right back. Stay with us. You're watching a home going up in flames here. A final check of breaking news. Firefighters battling 2 brush fires raging right now in Ventura and LA County. The Woolsey brush fires now burned at least 2,000 acres. Mandatory evacuations are in place north of the 101 freeway in the Bell Canyon area. And just a few miles away, firefighters are battling the Hill fire. It's burned about 7,000 acres so far. It's forced the closure of the 101 freeway near Camarillo. Mandatory evacuations are in place for Camarillo Springs, Vallecito Mobile Home Park, the Dos Vientos community, and Cal State University Channel Islands.
Okay, and due to the severity of the situation right now, we are extending our news coverage here on ABC7, preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live, because we have multiple structures now on fire. You can see one going up along Monteleone Drive, or Monteleone Avenue rather. This is in the Oak Park area. Again, this is the Woolsey fire. This is a fire that started at 2:30 this afternoon. It's called the Woolsey fire because it started near Woolsey Canyon Road in the Chatsworth area, and because of the winds, it quickly exploded, quickly spread in a southerly direction. It is now in Oak Park, and it is has caused multiple structures to go up in flames.
Mandatory evacuations now for all of Oak Park as ordered by the Ventura County Fire Department. And you are seeing structures now going up in flames there in Oak Park. Firefighters are racing from place to place to try to do structure protection, but they are just spread so thin because of the scope of this fire and its unpredictability. The winds have shifted at various times during the evening, and they can't deploy people in an area if they're not sure that the fire is going to get there. They almost have to wait till it gets there, and then they send people there to make sure that they're going to be deployed and used properly. So they are there now, but it's definitely too late for the home on the left. The home on the right there, you're seeing it. That's a structure that is also, it appears, burning or very close to going up in flames right now. Looks like the fence just outside the building is going up, but you are seeing firefighters, it looks like firefighting resources showing up in the area now, and we'll see if they're going to be able to do anything to put a stop to this particular loss. Annabelle Munoz is there now. Annabelle, where are you?
Hi, we're on Canaan Road right now, Mark, and I don't know if you can see, but there's embers blowing around us here. You can see the flames just behind me, and the winds right now are just really picking up. And of course, we can actually feel the heat of this fire right now. The LA County Sheriff's Department has gone up and down Canaan Road, telling people in this Oak Park neighborhood they are under a mandatory evacuation, getting harder to see here because of the thick smoke. Again, the embers are blowing around here as well. Remember, those evacuation orders are mandatory in this Oak Park neighborhood. The Ventura County Sheriff's Department does update their website with up-to-the-minute information on those evacuation orders, so you can check vcemergency.com. But we may have to move out of this area any second now. You can see folks pulling out of this complex right now, heeding those orders. There are a couple of people we're out on the street, still taking pictures and videos of fire engines going up and down Canaan Road. I've lost count of the number of fire engines that we've seen since we arrived here. But again, I think we are going to have to move and leave this area in just a little bit.
Okay, yeah, Annabelle, we want to let you go so you can get into a position where you feel more comfortable if you need to, and you can keep a better eye on the flames right now. But thank you for that live report. Annabelle Munoz reporting from the Oak Park area along Canaan Road, where we can see the flames are very close to Annabelle. She is, our crews are highly trained in covering wildfires. They do a very good job in keeping themselves safe, but we could see the flames behind her, and Annabelle knows that she's in an area where she may need to move, so we want her to be able to do that. Putting up our sky map technology now, you can see Churchwood Drive is one of the streets where these the homes are along. Monteleone is another street, and what is it, Kelwood Court is where we have another property ablaze. And
if Chris Christie or whoever, is Chris Christie available to us right now?
Mark, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead, Chris. Where are you? I see you. You're at Churchwood and Monteleone right now?
Yeah, we're at Churchwood and Monteleone monitoring this group of homes right here. I've counted at least 3 homes that are squarely burning up here. No fire resources anywhere close to these here. There are occasionally fire crews driving by, but they don't have the resources in place to fight these specific house fires. You mentioned earlier, Mark, that they're going from block to block trying to chase down these reports of structures on fire, and it is exactly like a game of whack-a-mole. And we've literally been watching that game take place from up here in Air 7 HD for about the last hour or so. The problem here is that this is an area that was not under a mandatory evacuation. All day long, they've been monitoring it. They were under a voluntary evacuation order, but it was not mandatory. And for much of the afternoon, it looked like this fire was blowing in the opposite direction. I got to tell you, at about 9:30 this evening, I really thought we were going to be over in Simi Valley covering a very similar situation. And then right before around 10:30, or right shortly after, around 10:30, the winds shifted. They went from blowing east to west and almost now southwesterly or due south in some cases. And now the fire is enveloping the neighborhood of Oak Park, and many of these folks are left scrambling to evacuate. And in some cases, we're getting sporadic reports, isolated reports of residents who are calling 911 and saying that they are trapped inside their home. And what we can't see, what we're seeing here is something that we can't see in other blocks only because of the amount of smoke. There's so much smoke covering this neighborhood, we can't possibly film all of the structures that we believe are also burning up at the same time. So it's a really precarious situation. I should also mention that we're getting reports now that the entire city, or most of Agora Hills, is now without power due to the fire. Agora Hills apparently losing power, according to Edison. So that is happening as well, and that is just south of Oak Park. So again, we're watching a group of homes here along Monteleone Avenue and Churchwood Drive that are basically left to burn, and this same scene is playing out at a couple of other spots in this neighborhood. Just to give you an idea, one of the locations that was being used as an evacuation shelter for those who wanted to voluntarily evacuate earlier this afternoon was Oak Park High School. And just before we went on the air at 11 o'clock, they immediately scrambled and started evacuating the shelter itself and all of the houses in that neighborhood because the fire was moving so quickly from north to south that it became a dire situation.